So after over 300 hours of work, coding, listening to feedback, and implementing that feedback, I'm finally ready to release the PIP Stock Market Workbook. It's called PIP after my dog and also the Performance Insight platform because this is not only just a trading journal, but it also gives you feedback on what the market is doing, including a daily recap of the indexes, market breadth, new highs, new lows, and industry performance, all sortable on 5-day, 20-day, 50-day, 200-day moving averages, areas for notes, watch lists, current portfolios, very easy way to input your trades, an area for all of your trading stats, and a capture day button that goes through up to 6 different accounts that you can manage, creating journal entries for each of those while keeping this workbook very small, very fast. So let's dig into it step by step to see what makes this such a valuable trading journal. Now let's zoom in and go over what you first see on the dashboard. The first row is actually static, so you can scroll and that first row is not going to disappear on you. So it's really easy if you're like entering trading stats or anything to switch to different accounts that you're managing before doing so. Before market open, after market close, we'll cover that in a little bit, but basically you'll see yesterday's price action and then today's price action with a click of the button. Account balance. Now, if all this information is highlighted yellow, it's telling you, hey, you haven't updated your account for the day. You can double click on that, and based on whatever account that you're currently managing, it'll take you to that account's worksheet. So individual should be account number 1. I can double click on that and then just scroll over to the left to see the account balance. And you can see that, hey, there are a lot of dates that I haven't filled out yet. Depending on the last day that you filled out your trading journal, you might need to add your ending balance for a while. For this purpose, we'll just copy this over really quickly. Sorry. And what you should be doing is doing this every single day. This is just for the presentation. I kind of wanted to show this off, but you'll fill out the ending balance, double click input account, it'll push it over, and then you can go back to the dashboard, and now it shows your account balance as updated, and it will give you your performance over different time frames, the 1-day, 5-day, 10-day, 20-day, month-to-date, quarter-to-date, year-to-date, and your percent off your highs. Now, because we just entered the same price, it's all 0 there, but if we go over to different account, you see some different performance metrics there. Now, if you see something in the dashboard and want to post it on social media, but you don't want to show either your account information or the trades that you're taking, I created this privacy button. So say you want to show industry performance and you're like, hey, these are the groups that are leading from the open 1 hour in, and you don't want to show all your trading stats, you can just switch this privacy to on, and then it'll hide all of your personal information. It'll still show all the market information for you, but again, you're not going to be showing your average win, your average loss, any of that. But if you want to share that stuff, just turn it right back on or turn privacy off, and then all of your trading stats will show up there. Finally, at the top, you have until open, because right now the market is closed. So we have 13 hours and 44 minutes until the market opens on Monday. When the market's open, this will switch to until close, and it'll give you the amount of time until the market closes. Now, over here, you have account detailed before the market opens. So this whole first area is also static, meaning it's not going to change based on the trades that you make. Because again, we want to have an account, or we want to have a trading journal that you see, hey, coming into the day, this is what my portfolio looked like. This is what the market looked like by toggling that to before market open. Not just, hey, what was the ending picture of the market? Why did I trade so poorly? We want to have both slices, both sides of the coin. So this first part is your positions before the market opens with a bunch of different trading stats. Now, this will be totaled up and shown in your account details before the market opens. So it'll show your account balance, your open risk on a dollar amount, percent amount, and also your long exposure and short exposure, and finally your net exposure. And one little bonus feature for TraderLion private members, you can also keep track of the bolded pivot and how many days we're above or below that. Now, this is going to be on you. I'm not updating it every single day for like a master account, but if we're above the bolded pivot, you have the ability to switch that and also change it to whatever day we're on. Right now, we're 1 day above the bolded pivot, but if we start to break down, we can switch that to below, and you can change that to whatever day we are in the cycle. So another great way to keep track of what the market is doing based on your system. If you're keeping a trading journal, it's important to be honest with yourself about how you're reacting to the market. So one of the more important features of the dashboard is the ability not only to see what's going on with the market today, but see what happened with the market yesterday to see if your bias coming into the trading day was justified. So right now you're seeing at the end of the day, Friday's action. You can see a lot of green on the screen. The indexes were up around 2%. RK was up 4.6%. We have many of the moving averages in uptrends, the price above those key moving averages, really good market breadth, and strong daily closing ranges for a majority of the industries. So if you go through your pre-market notes and you see, well, I'm bearish coming into the day, you would ask yourself, is that justified? Go ahead and switch cell F1 over to BMO for before market opens, and you'll see what the market looked like at Thursday's close, the previous day's close. And as you can see, a much different picture. We had the indexes were down on Thursday, below key moving averages. Those moving averages were in downtrends. We actually had IWO and RK in power downtrends where we have the 200-day above the 50-day, above the 21, above the 8, and above price. Market breadth was very weak. We had many more stocks making new lows than highs on every time frame, both the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ, and industry performance was weak. So having the ability to switch from yesterday's, how the market acted yesterday to today, will help you when you're filling out your pre-market notes, your during market notes, and your after market notes to keep you honest with how the market's acting and your biases coming into the market day. Now looking at the trading stats, it's very easy to get the truth about your trading. You can filter this based on 4 different variables, last number of trades, a time range, so start date, end date, you could choose. The trade type, this dropdown is going to reflect whatever you choose on the user info tab for your trade types and your setup types. So you can mix and match that. And you can also mix and match all the combinations. So let's say I want to see the last 5 trades. 2 of them were long, 3 of them were short. This is fake data for the presentation, but you could see win rate, an average dollar amount on your wins, an average percent amount on your wins, average dollar loss on your, or average loss on your dollars, average percent loss, and then your average reward to risk for long trades and short trades based on what you're filtering for the account that you've selected. So right now it's on my parents' individual, and you're seeing trading stats being filtered on that account. So maybe I do the last 4 trades, 1 were long, 3 were short, nice winning percentage on the short side, but I lost on that long trade. Only $11, right? So it's a very quick way to see the truth about your trading. If you want to see a little bit more details, you could double click on the full trading stats and then scroll over to the right, and you'll get a little bit more information just on like duration of the trade. And this is still based on the filters that you selected earlier. So if you're done here, just double click and it'll take you back to the workbook. Now let's zoom in and talk about market breadth and new highs, new lows. Both of these come from external data sources, and they're going to update every 15 minutes during market hours, and then it'll continue to update every 15 minutes for the first hour after the market closes. But after that, it'll update one last time. You should get a notification that the final update of the day is done, and then that image would be static. Now you could still switch from today's price or today's market breadth and new highs, new lows to yesterday's. Really easy way to just see how the market is moving. We covered that a little bit earlier, but taking a deeper dive into market breadth, all that is the percent of stocks in either the index or the sector that are above the 5-day moving average, the 20-day, the 50-day, and the 200-day. Now, just like the industries that we're going to cover in a second here, all of this is sortable, so you are able to double click on the 5-day and it'll sort by the percent of stocks above that moving average. So one thing to point out here, the S&P 500 is in black. So this is a very quick way visually to see what sectors are outperforming the index or underperforming the index on that time frame that you selected. So if you're not looking at the 5-day, say you want to see a longer trend like the 50-day moving average, double click that, and you can see 52% of stocks are in the S&P 500 are above their 50-day moving average. That's right in the middle of the road. But what's outperforming? Utilities, staples, real estate, healthcare, industrials. What's underperforming? Energy. So right away, you get a good sense of, am I in the right stocks, the strong stocks from the strong groups, or am I in a stock, or do I own a stock that's in a trailing group? So again, you can switch that back and forth. Same with the new highs and new lows, that switching continues there. So with new highs, new lows, how I use this is if I see more stocks making new lows than new highs, so go back to Thursday's price action. Right now, on Thursday, I was seeing more stocks making new lows than new highs on every single time frame. In a situation like that, I don't tend to hold my winning positions very long. I go for singles and doubles. Now, if we get into a scenario where more stocks are making new highs than new lows on every time frame, well, you have the market behind you. You could be a little bit more patient with your winners. Now, very important, to get the market breadth and the new highs, new lows to refresh every 15 minutes, make sure you go over to the user info tab and fill out what time zone you're in. If you don't do that, then it's going to be refreshing at random intervals, and no one wants that. So make sure you select the time zone, go back to dashboard, and then you're good to go there. Quickly scrolling over to the right, now we can talk about industry performance. So this is a little bit more in depth versus the sectors. You can see 24 different industries here. I just gauge them by the ETFs. And similar to the market breadth, this is also sortable, not just by the 1-day, 5-day, 20-day, and 50-day, but also by the percent from open, which I find very helpful. If I'm putting on any exposure in the market, ideally, I want to get traction right away on that trade. And a way I can improve my probability of that is by putting exposure into a stock that's in an industry that's also rallying from the open. So I would say I use this column M, percent from the open, most often during the day. And then once the market's closed, then I go through and kind of check the performance on a 1-day, 5-day, 20-day, and 50-day. Now, one difference between the sectors and the industry performance, all of this data should update every 3 minutes or so. This is using Excel's own version of pulling stock market data. So depending on how quick your Excel is, for me, it typically updates every 3 minutes. One last thing I want to point out on the industry performance, you can also sort on the closing range. So from the low to the high, where are we right now on a 1-day, 5-day, 20-day, and 50-day? This column R is dynamic on what column you just sorted by. So you can see I just sorted by the 50-day change. So now we have the 50-day closing ranges here. So let's go ahead and sort by the 50-day closing range. And you can see a backdrop of color. Very quickly, let's go over it. The first, if you close in the bottom 25%, that'll be red. From 25 to 50, you got orange background. 50 to 75, a yellow. And then above 75, very strong close, you got your green background there. But again, if you want to see the 5-day closing range, go ahead and double click on the 5-day change and then double click in the column R. So that's dynamic based on the last thing that you double clicked on. Now, it wouldn't be a trading journal if you couldn't take notes in it. And what I have here is 3 different sections: a pre-market notes, a during market notes, and then also a post-market notes. And not only this, but as you can see, we're on account number 1 right now. But instead of just having singular notes for all the accounts that you manage, it also allows you to be dynamic with your note taking. So let's go ahead and give a test. All you have to do, instead of actually clicking on the white space here, you'll double click the pre-market notes or whatever the yellow header is, and you should get a pop-up depending on where you are at in your screen. And you could take notes, say, this is before market open, Nick's notes. Go ahead and hit enter, and you see it pop up right here, before market open, Nick notes. But let's say we're switching to our account number 2 because we're managing that differently than account number 1. Brand new, different notes. Go ahead and double click that. You'll get the pop-up. And then you could say, this is before market open, notes for account 2. And this type of functionality is works the same for the pre-market, the during market, and the after market notes. Now let's cover the watchlist feature. All of the columns in blue, you have the ability to change. But the columns H and I in green, risk and number of shares, these are both going to be formula driven, and I don't want you to change the formula. You could try all you want, but unless you have the password, you're not going to get in. But the description you can also type out. So let's just do a quick one. Edge, we'll say Edge 1, Tesla, long. Position sizing is going to be a percentage amount of your account. So maybe I'm buying 10% of my account in Tesla, 175. I think it's trading around there. I could be wrong. Put a stop loss, 165. So based on my account balance coming into the day, I can take a 10% position size. That means I'm buying 5 shares of Tesla at 175. Now, if I get stopped out of those 5 shares at 165, my account balance will drop by 0.57%. Now, I use this feature, especially when I'm in trading slumps and I want to be trading with tighter risk, or if the market's acting poor and I want to trade with tighter risk. Right away, you know the number of shares you need and the risk to your portfolio for any trade that you put on. This will change based on your account that you're in. So if you have one account with $10,000, one account with $20,000, this, when you switch it over, it'll reflect the number of shares that that account can buy. So up top, you see your positions coming into the day. And again, this is static, it's not changing. But if you scroll to the bottom, you see current positions. And this is how you actively manage your portfolio away from TD Ameritrade, whatever. Once I place a trade, I want to close out of Thinkorswim as soon as I can because I know I'm a chronic overtrader. So creating a barrier where I can still monitor my positions without overtrading and being tempted to overtrade is a huge bonus for me. I don't know about you guys, but that helps me out. So again, this is all fake data, but you can see just the same as up top, all that trading details about your current positions. Now, this does have the current price of the stock. Where is it? Current price in column I. Again, this updates about every 3 minutes. So this took a lot of time to build, but it's very, very intuitive for users to either add new positions, manage current positions, or just adjust stop losses. So first, to add a new trade, all you need to do is click on one of the empty spaces in column B. And what that's going to do is populate this trade input tab or row with as much information as it can, and then it'll highlight the cells that you still need to fill out. So it'll grab a trade ID for you, and this is how we kind of combine all of the individual trades to give you your trading statistics. So that'll automatically populate for you. It'll also automatically populate the account that you're trading on based on what you have selected in cell C1. But let's go ahead and just put in a trade. It's going to be a swing trade. Setup 1, whatever you want to call it. We're trading Tesla. You could choose the date, whatever date that you're inputting. Now this inverse, if you're trading an inverse ETF, like I have up here, SQQQ or SARK, both of those are inverse ETFs. And I want to reflect the true exposure in your portfolio. So if you're long an inverse ETF, you're actually short the market. And that is going to be shown on your short exposure and also your net exposure. So if you're trading an inverse ETF and you're buying it, go ahead and put inverse as yes. But for a majority of your trades, I'd say 80-90% of mine, this is just going to be inverse no. Do long, buy. And then if you're buying a position, even to close out a short, it's going to be a positive quantity. If you're selling a position, it's going to be a negative quantity, even if you're selling it short. Price, we said it was 175. Our stop loss is at 165. Once you have that filled out, double click the input trade. It'll run a quick macro for you and then update the workbook. So now you can see Tesla's right here. We have our 10 shares. That's a 1% position size in this account. And let's see, you have all the other information. So now say Tesla is starting to work out for you. You want to move your stop loss up. All you have to do is double click on whatever stop loss you want to move. So actually, SARK, we're up 3%. Let's put this at break even. Our entry price was 41.31. Double click on that stop loss. Down here, it'll populate all of the information for you, your trade ID, account, the trade type, all that good stuff. So you don't have to go in digging for that. And then all you have to do, it highlights the adjusted stop loss. We'll go 41.31. Now we're not going to be losing on this trade. Go ahead and input that, and it'll be reflected in 1 second. Now your stop loss is your entry price. No risk on the trade. That is ideal. Now say we want to close out a trade like the Tesla trade that we just had. All you have to do, double click on Tesla, and it's going to populate this with the inverse quantity. So maybe you're not selling the entire thing. You can change this, but it's going to immediately populate it with the entire position. So minus 10. Say we sold it for 180, we made a little bit of money on the trade. Go ahead and input the trade, and now after the macro runs, it will wipe Tesla off the board. But Nick, I accidentally entered the wrong information. I need to change it. That's easy. Go to the Trading History tab, and then you'll be able to adjust anything in blue. The yellow is formulas, so you won't be able to adjust that. But any of the buys, the sells, the quantity, the price, that you can all change very easily. And then you just go back to dashboard, and if you click on the current positions macro, it'll refresh everything for you. Now say you're entering a new trade, but it doesn't quite fit in either a trade type that you currently have or a setup type that you currently have, and you want to add one. You've been studying a different setup, and it's time to start implementing it. All you need to do is go over to the User Info tab, and then if it's a trade type, you could say trade type test, whatever you're doing, and just double click on that header. What it's going to do is add it to the named range, and then both on the dashboard under trade type, you have trade type test, and also in the, let me scroll up, in the trading stats, you can now filter by that trade type test. If that was a mistake and you want to get rid of it, you just clear it out, double click, and it'll adjust that named range. Same thing for setup. Maybe we're trading an HVC, high volume close setup. Go ahead and double click that. It'll add it to the name range. And when we're adding our new trade, you'll have that as a potential setup type. And the last macro on the dashboard is the trades closed today. You saw me just input that Tesla trade. So all you need to do here is double click that, and it'll give you all the information on the trades that were closed on the day. So very easy to review your trades, review compared to your post-market notes, your during market hours, pre-market notes, and how the market went down. Now, once you've updated the workbook for all 6 accounts, up to 6 accounts that you're managing, we're gonna click on this Capture Days button. Now, what this does is it goes into the User Info tab, grabs the file location of each of the accounts that you're managing, opening up a separate workbook, and then taking a picture of the dashboard for that account. So it grabs everything for this account, taking a picture of it, and then placing it into this second file location. The reason we do this is if we took a picture of all 6 accounts every single day, this workbook would be massive, very, very slow, and I'm sure it would crash all the time. Instead of doing that, we're keeping the actual dashboard very, very quick, and we're just exporting that to the separate files. Now, those separate files, they don't have any formulas, they don't have any macros. They could get large in size, but they never should be too slow to scroll through. If they do, I'll update a solution there. But all you have to do is once you have your account balance filled out for every account and all the information that you want put in, click on this Capture Day button, and it's going to go through and you'll see it's opening up each of the accounts and then pasting the pictures in there. It's going to give you a message, and see, I did this on purpose, wink, update your parents' IRA account. So that's showing you that, hey, this person doesn't have their account balance updated. Now you can just go in there. It was the parents' IRA. Double click there. Hey, we have a bunch of days to fill out. Let's just do that super quick. Again, this is the fake data that I'm using, but works for the show. So another nice thing is if you captured the day already, but you had a nice aftermarket thought, you added it to the post-market notes, and you want to recapture it, go ahead and same thing, you just go ahead and click that, and it'll go through and delete the previous picture, post the most recent one. And one thing I noticed with Mac when I did this is I had to give file access to each of the individual account journals. But once you do it one time, it doesn't ask you to do it anymore. So it takes about a minute to load, not much more than that. And then you can go through and open up your journal for each of the 6 accounts and go back January 1st all the way to the end of the year and see how the market progressed. And just to prove that it actually worked, we could go to the individual journal, zoom in all you need to, but there's your 5/5/2023. It's all right there. So go ahead and close that out. And once you are complete with the day and want to get the workbook set for tomorrow, all you have to do is clear the workbook. Now, don't do this until you are completely done capturing the day. All your aftermarket thoughts are in and you've captured those, because once you clear the workbook, there's no going back. But what this does is it clears out all the comments, clears out the trades closed today, takes your active positions, posts them in the positions before the market opens. And this also, I would say, runs in about 30 seconds. Oh, maybe even 2 seconds. It's so fast on a Mac compared to a Windows, but I do like the Windows setup, the visuals a little bit better. Now, as amazing as this dashboard already is, I want to keep improving on it for all the users. And the easiest way to do that, to go to the next version, is just to write a program, and I've already done that. So what you're going to do is come to your previous version of the workbook, hold down the Option button if you're on a Mac, and then on Copy, you could copy the file path. From there, just go over to the User Info tab, paste it in cell D12, and then double-click Upload Previous Version. And this is going to take a little bit to run. When it pops up, go ahead and disable the macros, so none of the macros of the previous workbook need to run. And boom, you have your account names all filled out, those file locations filled out, your trade types, setup types, and along with your trade history, all the aggregated data, and all of your trading stats, just like that. Now, when you open up the workbook on a Mac, you're going to get this message about macros. You could disable or enable. If you disable, the workbook's not going to work, so make sure you click enable there. You're going to get a second little security warning. Go ahead and enable that content and then cross out of the disclaimer. Once you do that, the macros are all going to work. You can click, sort everything. You'll be good to go. Now, if you're a Windows user opening the document for the first time, you're going to get an enable editing option, and that's going to pop up with a security risk because there are macros running in the background of the document, making sure it runs smoothly for you. So what you're going to do for the first time, go to File, Options, Trust Center. We're going to add a trusted folder for these documents to go to. Go to Trusted Location, add new location, and then you can browse and put the folder wherever you want. You can see I have trusted files right here. And make sure you hit OK, OK, get out of there. And then when you save the document for the first time, make sure you save it in that folder structure. Close the document out, reopen it, enable editing, and then you should be good to go. So there you have it, the PIP, the Performance Insight Platform. Over 300 hours of work. This is a product that I'm extremely proud of. It was not easy to put together, not easy to code, and not easy to make easy for other non-Excel users. I worked as an actuary for 5 years. I work in Excel and coding all the time, but not every trader does. So instead of just making this platform for myself, I had to spend probably 200 hours of the back half building it out for people who maybe not be Excel experts, which is completely fine. You guys are trading experts. So right now I'm offering this for $50. There's a link in the video description for both Windows and Mac users. Now, I will note, if you don't have a Microsoft 365 subscription, do not order the workbook. All of the formulas are generated based on the stock history function, which for now, Microsoft only allows the Microsoft 365 users to access. Hopefully in the future that changes and Microsoft allows stock history for everyone. But if you don't have Microsoft 365, I don't want to take $50 from you and then the workbook not work. So please just pass on it for now, and then hopefully in the future Microsoft releases it for everyone. Again, the link is in the description of this video. I'm really proud of this product, but if there's things that you want to see to improve it, let me know. Hit that problems and feedback. Email me at stocktrickswithnick@gmail.com. And let me know on Twitter, Instagram, any other place that you guys can find me. I'm Nick Drendel, and hope you guys enjoy the PIP product.